Hey, it is Sarah Michaels here. Welcome back to another tutorial. This happens to be a Style It Yourself DIY Wix website design tutorial. And in this video, I'm going to show you how to add a custom form to your Wix website. And not just any kind of form. This specifically will be if you were previously using, like, let's say that you are onboarding a new client, whether that's like a coaching client, if you're a consultant, maybe you are a service-based provider and you do a lengthy intake form to figure out really, or like an application, right? Like if somebody has to fill out all of this to let you know what kind of services they need or projects so that you can put a quote together, this might be essential. Or if you are an online, maybe you do nutrition coaching, or you're, a doctor or something like that, and you are doing any kind of intake. So what you will need to be able to complete this is, obviously, you have to have a Wix website. This is a Wix tutorial, so go ahead and make sure that you have that. Be sure that you have upgraded your plan and connected it to a domain. If you haven't done any of that yet, I show you how to do that inside of the Style It Yourself course. So you can either upgrade to the free course, or even if you just take the free version, I show you in the free version how to at least connect your domain, pick the template. So you've already done that. Now, the next thing that you need is to upgrade to Wix Ascend. Okay, I know this is a little bit confusing, and we've talked about it before, but essentially, the reason that I chose Wix and what you get with Wix is more than just a design platform, okay? So you're going to have that premium plan, which allows you to connect to the site, to like host your domain, to accept payments, have an online store. So those are what the premium plans are. And then there's Ascend, and Ascend is essentially your customer management. It's like your automations, your email marketing, all that kind of stuff that really is like the secret, I guess, the magic sauce of where Wix is really excelling and ahead of everything else. Okay. So there's your premium plans, and then there's Ascend. And you do need to have Wix Ascend in order to be able to use the contact forms with like unlimited numbers of, what do you call that, entries or whatever it is. Okay. So that's what I'm going to let you know first, that you do want to make sure that you've upgraded. So you can upgrade to Ascend, I believe, right? Let's see here. No, that's not where you upgrade. So what we're going to do is, let's open up the dashboard first of all. So you'll want to go ahead and open up, select your site, open up the editor. So you're going to want the editor tab open, and then you're going to want to make sure that you've opened up the dashboard. And I'm just really quick here going to show you how to upgrade to Ascend. And let's see if it'll actually load here. Okay, so the Ascend plan that you want to have is at least the basic one. It might be too slow. Okay, we'll let that load for a second. So what you can do here, when you're going to go create your form and you've opened up the editor, now you have to figure out where you want the form to be. If it's going to be on a page that only a client can access, you're going to want to create something called a hidden page, okay? And I'll show you how to do that. So what you do inside the editor here is go to the site menu. Okay, this is that little like paper looking thing in the top left-hand side of the menu. This is where you're going to open that up. It's going to say Site Menu. And as you can see here, these are all of the pages associated with my site. And this is going to be very shocking, perhaps, because there's a lot of pages that aren't visible in the menu because they're part of like the back end of my website. That's always why, when someone goes out to get a website design quote, they're like, oh my gosh, what? Because there's so many more pages on the back end of a website that you don't even realize are there. So what you want to do is go down to the bottom and click on Add Page. Okay, so if this is going to be visible only to clients or something that you've just onboarded, here's what we're going to do. We're going to call this, you can call this intake form, or you can call it new client intake, whatever it is, however you want to name the page. We'll click on done. And then typically I will drag this here and put it underneath of whatever the main category is, just to kind of keep things a little bit more organized, especially as you're getting more pages in there. So for me, I could, let's see here. I'm going to put this underneath of the home tab. If you have a tab that says clients, you might want to put this tab under the client tab. You could put it under like a programs tab. Wherever this would be best fitting for you to keep it organized on your site, go ahead and drag that underneath of there. Now, the next thing that you want to do is click on the three little dots. So once you've selected that page, that's weird. Once you've selected that page, you can select the three dots next to it. The next thing I want you to do is click on hide, because you don't want this visible to just anyone. If you want this to be hidden, only accessible when you send a new client the link. The next thing you're going to do is go ahead and click on settings. This is going to bring up the kind of like the back end management for that specific page. Okay, so this is the settings for that specific page. So what I want you to do is click on layouts. Now, a standard layout, as you know, has the header and the footer on it. We're going to go ahead and take that out. We just want the person or the client who's ever landed here on a page with a form, we want them to be able to focus on the form. So take off the header and take off the footer. So we're going to go with no header and footer. And then we're going to go over here to the SEO and Google tab. This is where you're going to see where the direct link will be for that page, right? So if a page is hidden from your menu, you're not going to be able to like click around and send them there. You have to copy and paste this, what we call a direct URL. So once this page is saved and it's published, you'll be able to go click on go to URL. I don't know what's going on. I don't understand if I have more than one. Really weird. I don't know. Maybe somebody else is trying to edit my website. I have no clue. Anyways, so when you click on go to URL, that is where it's going to pull that up. And when you copy this, so if you hover over the whole thing, double click, the reason it's saying page not found yet is because I haven't published it. Okay, so you can still grab that URL. Something that I do to keep my links for my website handy is you may want to put this link inside of a Google Drive document or a spreadsheet and just write like, so I'll say like page, and then it'll say like new client form, and then here's the link. This is also especially helpful if you are going to be utilizing a personal or virtual assistant at any point. So that way, when you create that workflow and they know like, okay, we have a new client, send them this form, take them to this link. It just allows you to kind of take a step back and be able to have some of these things done already. Okay, back to the editor. Okay, so the next thing that you have to decide is if you want a header on this at all. Sometimes what I'll do is I will go in and like, one of the really cool things that you can do is, let's see here. If I go to my home page, you can always copy an element from one page to another. So let's say I want to grab this little strip right here, and or if I grab this entire strip, okay, so I have the text here. So the text is connected to this strip. So when I copy this, okay, this is what we call the little toolbar right here. So when I select this strip with the text and I click on copy, by the way, as always, if your toolbar ever disappears and you don't see this, just click on the tools tab and click on toolbar. And that will always make it pop up because sometimes it does disappear on you. All right, so once you go ahead, hover over that element that you want to copy, click the copy button, And now I'm going to go back to my site menu and I'm going to go back to the new client intake form. Gosh, I don't understand what's going on. That's really weird. So we're going to go to the new client intake form here and we're going to click on paste. Okay, so you can see new client intake. I just landed, or I just saved it there. So now, wasn't that fun? That was really fun because this makes it easy to copy elements back and forth from one page to another, because I don't want it to be totally blank. I just don't want it to have the same header and footer on my main site because that could be overwhelming. So we can call this new client form or new client intake. Whatever it is that you want to call that, you can add that up there. And if you ever just want to add a strip or something or its own title, go to the plus sign. And this is where you're going to bring up all of the elements for the site. Okay, so this is where all of the different site elements come into play. So you could add a strip, and a strip is something like you see right here, kind of how it's that little bit of a color, just a little bit of a color distinction. One of my favorite things to do is just to go down to here, add one of these classic strips in there, and then it'll go from all the way to the left to all the way to the right, and then you can put text on the top of that. So it kind of just differentiates the color just a tiny little bit and makes your website just look a little bit more professional. Now, the next thing we're going to do is actually getting into the form. So now you can see we're going to click on the plus button again, and we're going to go down here to the Forms tab. Okay, the Forms tab. So as you can see here on the contact forms, you'll notice on the left-hand side of the forms, it's going to tell you all of these different types of forms that they offer now. And there are a lot. So I like the, let's see here, I think it's the, which one is it? I think it's this one. I think it's a testimonial form that I like because, and what you're going to do is just, so at the end of the day, you just are just picking the style that you like the best for a new client intake form. You can pick something bright if you want to. It really depends on the types of questions that you're going to be answering, and you're going to be able to completely customize this form. I pretty much usually always gravitate to like a very minimal, like a super simple, timeless, kind of classy looking form. That's just my personal vibe. So I would encourage you to check out the different form styles and pick one that matches your site the best. And then what you can do here, the next thing we want to do is go ahead and click on form settings. Okay, form settings. And what you'll be able to do here is link it to, okay, so underneath of the settings, you're going to give this form a name. It's very important that you always name your forms, because then when you're going in and putting any of these automations in there, you know, what the name of the form was. Otherwise, it's like blah, 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 just filled out form number 2. And you're like, what's form number 2? I don't even remember. So go into the settings. Okay, so click on form settings and then settings. Okay, then you're going to name the form. So we'll call this client intake form 1. Okay, client intake form 1. Next, okay, and then if you click anywhere else, as you can see, it just, as soon as I click away from that, it locks it in. The next thing I want to do is click on email settings. Your email here at blah, blah, blah.com. Okay, whatever your email is, type it in there. The email that you want someone to be notified at once this is finished. So I would put your main business account in there. If you're a solopreneur or a coach or a consultant, then I would also put your, backup email in there. If you have a virtual or a personal assistant, put their email in there. That way you're not missing it when someone fills out this form. So if you only have one email, great, put that in there, whatever email address you want inside. Okay, the next thing that you can do is create a submissions table. Okay, a submissions table allows you to see anyone who's filled this out all in one place. It's super handy to have. So if you'd like that, you can go ahead and add that there. Let's see here. Save submissions to contacts. Yes, it does that automatically. And then automations. Now, if you want to add an automation to the form, so like let's say after a client fills out this form, then they can book an appointment, or you want them to, confirm or whatever it is, you can always add an automation into that. Okay, so you can send a thank you email. You don't have to do that. That's just an option. And we go over automations in a totally separate unit. All right. So the next thing that I'm going to show you how to do here is add in the elements and just kind of show you how to add an intake form. So if you ever want to change the design or the layout of the form, you can click on the paintbrush. So you'll select that specific element, and then you can go ahead and click on whichever. If you like a different design better, then you can always go ahead and change it. See, so I personally, my favorite form is, it looks kind of like this. I like those little boxes that look like that the best. Just my total personal preference. So you could go in here and you could edit every single one of these to be like that. um, I always do that because I like it the best. So let's see here. And then what you can do is you can go in here. Let's see, to the layouts. Let's go with the design. And I don't think I think you have to go in and do it by hand. You do. Okay. So again, if you want to leave the layout, that's fine. I kind of like something that looks a little bit different. So what you'll do is if you want to add any fields into here, you can click on add a new field, that little plus button. And then you'll see that you can ask them questions. If you want them to check a terms checkbox, like if you want them to say like, yes, I've read the patient terms and conditions, or I've read the patient privacy policy or whatever, that's right down here. That would be under the terms checkbox. If you want them to, let's see here, do any kind of a selection. So if there's any kind of like a drop down, so if they have to do multi-selection fields, or you want them to select one or the other, or to rate themselves on something, this is where you would do that. You could do a checkbox, radio buttons, multi-checkbox, or a drop down. Let's see. You might use the file upload. It all depends really on what type of intake form and application you're using, but probably some of the most popular options that you're going to be doing are here inside of the text. Now, if you're asking them questions and stuff like that, you could do a short text field. This right here is an example of a short text. Or you could do a paragraph field. That's where it's a little bit larger and they're able to enter as much information as possible into there. So that really depends on how many questions and what types of things that you have in there. Okay, form settings, add a new field. Let's see here. They can add their email. If you need an address, they can put that in there. So yeah, there's just a lot of different things that you can do. If you want to add a reCAPTCHA in there for like security purposes, you can put that in there. You don't have to. And then at the end, if you need them to sign, you can add the signature field or not. So that is how to create a form. I believe that you get, I think you get either like 2 or 3 free forms in Wix if you don't upgrade to Ascend, but then you have like a limited number of fields. So as soon as you upgrade to Ascend, you get access to like more of the contact form fields here. And so once you have everything added in there, you can decide what you want to do with the button. Now, when you click on the button at the bottom, this is where you can change the layout of it. If you can change the design. So if you let's say we're going to go with my branding here, pretend I want that to be a pink button at the bottom. And oftentimes on the bottom, when you go to submit the button, when you click on the settings for the button on the bottom, this is going to bring up a whole separate menu where it's giving you options for what you want to happen next after somebody clicks that button. Okay, so what is displayed on the button? We're going to say submit form. Now, here are the options that can happen after someone submits this. So, for example, you could show a success message like, thank you for submitting. We've received this. We'll be, we'll see. We're looking forward to seeing you at your appointment. Okay. So, you could always like show that message down there. Okay. So, that's one of the options that you have. Another option would be to take them to a page on your website. So let's say that after they submitted this page, you wanted to take them to another page, or you wanted to take them to the calendar page where they'd then be able to book an appointment with you. It really depends on how your business and how your entire flow is set up with what you wanted to do. So sometimes you'll notice that when you submit forms or stuff on my site, it'll take it'll take you to the next page. That's because I've set up what I call my funnel. Okay, so I have an onboarding funnel for my clients. So this is really where you can stack on a lot of pages or like hidden pages on your site because you're building out this whole customer experience. Okay, so it all depends on how in depth you want to go with this. If you want to take the really quick and easy route, you can just show a success message and that's it. You can say, like, thank you for submitting. We're looking forward to seeing you next. Or you could choose to link to another page on the website. So you could always go ahead and pick a page. Like maybe you wanted them to go to your calendar page, or maybe you even wanted to create another page after this. Okay, so I could always add another page in here and I could call it client intake success. Okay, and we could hide. I'd go through the same thing. I'd hide this. I'd click on the settings. I'd go to the layouts, no header and footer. I'd go to the new client intake form. Okay, and I could copy this at the top. All right, and then I could always go to this new page that I just created. I could click on paste. Oop, I made one too many. All right, I could do this. Now, I could add a personal message in here. See, so you can add some text in here. You could say like, we'll go ahead and I'm just showing you what's available. Thank you. Let's see, we'll go with this. Thank you for filling out the new client intake form. Here's what's next and what to expect. Okay. All right. So this is kind of where you can maximize the experience and the opportunity. Okay. And really get them exposed to what you want them to do next. So if you want them to book an appointment, you can say, we look forward to, let's see here. We look forward to seeing you at your appointment. In the meantime, if you haven't yet, we invite you to check out, and then whatever you have going on, like whatever resources is, or join our community and client group on Facebook. Okay. And then you could put link here. Okay. So you could always insert that link there. By the way, to insert a link into text, you just highlight it and then click on the link button. And if it's not a link going to a page on your website, you'll just put that into the address bar. So maybe it's like facebook.com/your website. Okay, wherever that you want that link to take them to. You could always add an image. You could go down here. If you go to bookings, you could add in a service. Like, so let's say that your client isn't able to book until they filled out the intake form. Well, on this next page, you can then say like, oh, by the way, congratulations, you've just filled out the intake form or you filled out the application. Now you can, book your consultation, or now you can claim your free whatever, or, book your appointment with us. In order to add in that service then, and I'm just showing you what's possible. This might not be relevant to you. But if it is, I always want to give you that understanding of how to create that client experience and how to use your website in order to do that. So that's how I do it. And by the way, if you ever want to change it, you just click on settings and then you'll be able to select which service you want to display on the widget. Okay, so you could do like 60-minute consultation. So that's kind of how mine works. People can't book a consultation with me until they filled stuff out. And then on the confirmation page, that's where we would type all that in. Okay, so now we're going to go back here to the new client intake form. Really quick here. So there you have it. You can tweak the look of this. Make sure that you have added in the form settings. Okay, if you have any questions about this intake form, make sure that you tune in to our weekly Q&A session or the live training. I'd be happy to show you this live if you run into anything. And if you didn't know that, by the way, if you are a graduate or a member, how would I say that? There's two ways to get access to my weekly live training sessions. Either you have purchased Style It Yourself, which is what you are watching and you're looking at and you're checking out right now. It's the Style It Yourself course, DIY Wix website design. Or if you are a What the Tech member, that's a monthly membership that I offer. Those are the two ways that you can get access to that weekly live training. Okay, so there you have it. Now you know how to put a form on your website. Once you're ready to publish it, just go ahead and click publish. Then it will be live on your site. In order to grab the link for that person, you would go here to the SEO and Google, and you would just click on go to URL. If you want to take it one step further, you can go ahead and add a page description. You could show the page in search results. And yeah, so then you can kind of play around with the SEO if you're doing any kind of that. If you're not, don't worry about it. Just leave that blank for now because it doesn't really matter because it's a hidden page anyways. So there you have it. If you have any questions, I look forward to seeing them inside of either one of our private support communities or on one of our live Q&A sessions. And I hope this was helpful, and I'll see you in the next video.